This is Marwan, and welcome to this video about a very prevalent problem in most of the graduates' experience, and that is the time between graduation and actually find a job, a full-time job, and starting the living the status of employment can be quite challenging and taxing for lots of people, for most, if not all, graduates who expect something and then realize that, well, real life and real life's terms are different from the expectations. Usually, you don't find a job as quickly as possible. You had some expectations, you had some targets on some companies, maybe, or on some connections, and you realize that it takes time or it didn't work out the way you expected it to. So this might be very disappointing. It might be emotionally damaging to some of you. So the best thing to do is to first of all realize that, well, real life and business life are not as similar and as organized and as programmed as a university timeline. University, you enter, you're in the first semester, you finish it. If you finish it successfully, you move to the second, and so on and so forth. But after graduation, you might feel lost. You're just applying to jobs, you are not getting the responses you were hoping for. If you're graduated from a good university, for example, you might, with a good GPA, you might expect companies to be, very willing to work with you and to employ you, but it might be different in real life. In the real market, there's an inflation of graduates and you have to stand out. That's what we have been learning since the first video here, how to actually stand out, how to look special, how to show your competency over the average applier. So in order to handle this in between timing, I have made this five-phased plan with a final action plan for the next 7 days. So let's start with the first introduction to the topic. I mean, it's a period of the high of graduation. You feel high, you feel good. I just graduated with a good degree. Finally, I'm a graduate. This was my dream for the first couple of days, maybe a week, but then it hits you when you have a lack of structure and you don't have the right expectations. Usually it's a 1 to 2 to 3 months period, even more than 3 months for some people, from the moment of graduation to the moment of finding a job and actually starting your first day at work. So this might lead to panic applying and burnouts that might be dangerous for our mental health and our motivation. So there's a comparison trap that we should avoid, and that is to compare ourselves with LinkedIn users who might seem like they have all the success stories in the world, and you unfortunately don't. You feel like a failure, you feel like a loser or whatever. Your brain is telling you, so it's not right. You just graduated, it's okay. You have not been graduated for like 3 years and haven't been employed. This is not the case. It has only been a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months, so that's totally expected. And believe me, like most of the people with these virtual success stories in LinkedIn have also had the same experience, and not every success on social media is real. That's also another fact. Secondly, there is a risk from having zero structure, from having zero plan. I mean, over planning is problematic because, well, it kind of limits you, and also it sets expectations that are usually unmet because we're humans. But also zero structure is problematic because now you don't have this deadline, this submission, and you have the mentality of still a student because we just graduated if you haven't been working during your university years. So the loss of these academic deadlines can lead to a dangerous place of inactivity and not having any professional habits, not having anything to be doing. We have to avoid this by shifting the perspective from unemployed to self employed career researcher, someone who is willingly searching for work. So we can create a professional routine. It's very important to know that a career does not start with a paycheck. I mean, a paycheck is the most important thing about the career, but also a schedule is very important. This is something I personally have been struggling with. Lots of graduates are struggling with. It's to fix a schedule without being fully employed or having a full-time employment. I can be doing lots of part-time jobs, lots of freelancing, lots of private courses, um, etc., etc. But not having a full-time job can lead to a loss in energy or lack of energy and the lack of vision. So the first step to a healthy gap between graduation and employment is rebuilding the structure that university used to provide to us. There's a 9 to 12 deep work block in which we can dedicate the first 3 hours of the day. If we wake up at 9, I mean, that is. It doesn't have to be from 9 to 12, of course, but it's ideal. It can be a bit, changed. Maybe 11 to 2, maybe 10 to 1, but at least for 2 or 3 hours, we can start the day with making breakfast, drinking our coffee, and doing high value tasks such as precision applications, which we have discussed before, skill building, that is learning to do new things or improving our skills in doing certain things, and networking, of course, rather than generic scrolling and aimless activities. That is until it's 5 p.m. When it's 5 p.m. or even a bit before that, we should stop. Really, just stop, because if you don't stop, you might get into the 24/7 anxiety loop in which you just feel panic, anxious, stressed, and depressed when you don't have the results you're expecting. It might seem like an overload. So, actually, setting this timeline is very healthy and it gets you used to actually being employed. So, a small win here is setting daily non negotiable goals that are independent of employer responses. So, for example, you can say, I will reach out to one alumnus today. I will message this person. Whether they reply or not, it doesn't matter. My goal is to message them correctly. Phase two is the case study method. It's an active skill stacking. Employers don't just look for degrees, they also look for proof of problem solving abilities. We can use this gap, a couple of months, to build a portfolio of evidence, stuff that we have done. So building mini projects can be a very good idea. Instead of just saying, I know a tool like Notion, like Obsidian, like using AI, we can build a public facing system. It might sound like a lot, but actually it's much simpler than it sounds. And with the advent of AI, it's much easier to do with the assistance of AI, and it's a good way to fill this time. So you can say I built a centralized database for a specific industry in Notion to track specific data. We can also do volunteering for impact, offering your specific skills such as translation, or research or data management or anything else to a nonprofit or a local startup for a defined 4-week period. This means you will have an extra thing to add to your CV, which will help a lot. It's going to be a result and it's going to enhance your CV, it's going to enhance your experience. Also, we can do strategic networking, and we talked about this before if you remember, informational interviews, talking with alumni, with managers, with employees in the companies we're targeting will be very helpful. Setting the dates, setting some calls, doing some virtual coffee meetings can all lead to lots of more insight. And insight is a real thing. It's not just a fancy word. It really makes a difference when you talk with an insider in the market or in the industry. You dream of working in. And you might be surprised, but lots of people have time and are willing to talk with new graduates who have this target of working in the same position or in the same industry. It's really nice to and creative to say it as interviewing the industry before the industry interviews you. So you just talk with an insider. There's an alumni insight loop in which reaching out to professionals 2, 3 years ahead of us to ask about the day-to-day reality of their roles, and this helps us when we are being interviewed for the job, and if we hopefully get the job, we know how to deal with it. And there's the value first outreach, engaging with industry content on LinkedIn by offering thoughtful comments or sharing relevant research rather than just liking posts and spamming the managers or the HRs. Of course, bypassing the HR wall is very important as well. We can use this time to build one-on-one relationships with the alumni working there, with the managers of the specific departments we're aiming at working in, which can lead to internal referrals once a position opens up. So it doesn't have to be a company with open positions. It's enough for it to be a company that you want to work in, and trust me, there are gonna be positions, vacancies soon, because this is how it works today. Lots of people leave their jobs and move on to the next job. Of course, an improvement of the tech stack, a 30-day gap is enough. Even if it's 60, it's more enough to become technically dangerous in a new niche that university did not cover. So if you're a social science student, you can get used with some CRMs, with AI, with programming, with coding, and it wouldn't take more than 30 days to master. And here I'm talking about like 4 to 6 hours a day of work, not all day work. So in reality, it's doable. For example, AI workflow mastery can be achieved moving from ChatGPT user to AI operator, learning how to use tools for professional market research, document automation, and data synthesis is just one example. We can also aim for specialized certifications, which is a better idea. We can pick one hard skill, such as SQL, Advanced Excel, or CRM management, and complete a recognized certification online or face to face, it doesn't matter, but onlines are very like available that can match our target job description. Of course, digital literacy, ensuring that we have remote readinesses, should be also achieved, proving that we can manage projects in Slack, in Jira, or Trello. It does not matter which program, but we should also, I mean, it's better to have this. It's not a must, but it's a good idea. It's an improvement, of course. Um, Managing the narrative is one of the key parts of this whole thing, this whole gap. When we're asked in the interview, what have you been doing since your graduation? For example, the answer should never be, I'm just applying for jobs, or I'm just looking for a job, or I'm just, enjoying my time. I mean, it can be part of the answer, but it should be also framed well in order to kind of stand out from amidst the applicants, the new graduate applicants especially. You should be looking for an answer that puts you high up in the options. So we can say something like, instead of applying for a job, since graduating, I have been focused on two things: deepening my expertise in any skill that you might see fit for the role, and consulting for project non-profit organizations or roles in organizations to apply my research skills in a business setting. This might seem like a fancy sentence, you can say it or rephrase it however you like, but it's better to, have one or two things, specific things to talk about, to say, instead of just giving a very general answer, such as I'm just applying for jobs, um, which is also okay, but you should like add some more. Like I have been also um, improving my skills in whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter. I have been working on the side as a freelancer in that. It doesn't matter, but you should be doing something else to stand out in the interview. And sometimes they don't even ask that, but they ask you if you're doing anything uh, in your work, and then you should have a couple of things to say. You should never say no, I'm doing nothing, I'm just looking for a job. uh, Ownership of the timeline is also important, showing that we choose to spend this time upskilling rather than just waiting. So it's not good to say, oh, I really want to work, unemployment doesn't feel good, or I'm waiting for job or for the right fit. We can say, I'm spending this time improving my skills, and I have some offers. Even if you don't have offers, I have some offers is an important sentence to say, but I see that your company stands out as blah blah blah, like whatever you choose to say is better than showing or portraying ourselves as the waiter. We should not be the waiter, we should be someone who's spending their time doing something. Also, there's this gives the right answer gives the lifelong learner signal to the HR or to the interviewer by proving that we are a self-starter who does not need a professor or a boss to stay productive. This helps with um, big projects, with remote tasks, with remote positions, especially because they see that you have the willingness and the ability to work by yourself and to be productive, even if you are not micromanaged by a boss or by a professor. We have a small plan. If you're interested, we can apply all of these phases in a 6 day plan. In yeah, in day one, we can audit our current routine and block out 3 hours for deep work. We should do this for the whole 7 days. It really makes a difference. It gets you used to the momentum of, okay, I'm waking up, then I'm doing my work. Not I'm waking up, I'm going to class, or if there's no class, I'm not gonna wake up, but I'm waking up, I'm doing my work for 3 hours, 2 hours. Identifying the one proof of concept project we can finish in 2 weeks or in a month or in 2 months, whatever we choose. But it's better to be a shorter period of time, just in case we get employed. We have to finish the project, not leave it halfway. And also reaching out to two alumni for 15 minutes inside chat or a virtual coffee. So this can be for the whole week. So the target can be just two alumni for a week. Yeah, and thank you for watching this video about strategic momentum after graduation. Just keep in mind that sometimes, even if university is very good, even if your grades are very good, even if you have talked formally with others, with employers, and they gave you some promises, even if it doesn't work out. I hope it works out, but if it doesn't work out, it's alright, it's okay. It takes time, it's a process. Just be a bit systematic in your applications, in applying to jobs. Know what you want to do, even if it's a general knowledge. You don't have to have all the answers, just be ready. Usually jobs give you training, even if the job doesn't work out well and you get like sacked from there, you can add it to your CV. So it's always a positive thing to find a job, to work it, to try it. And yeah, there's no much stress. uh, the biggest enemy in this period is basically the psychology of panic, of I'm not gonna find any job. This is not true, especially if you are a university graduate, which you are. You're finding a job in the right time. So thank you and see you.